Dun, 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 dun.
I love how artist collaborations in the music world operate on this channel, in that they serve as a sort of gateway for me to not only introduce myself to new work from familiar talents, but new ones as well. Maybe more unknown, obscure names, at least to me. This is a combination of familiarity versus obscurity, in that the title group in this case is Set the Sun. I've never listened to them yet, so this is very much going to be a fresh listen for me. Maybe you're also in the position like, who's that group? I've never heard of them. From a general skimming, at least of their background, they are, I guess, dominant within the rock and metal scene. Big advantage point for me because I'm a big metalhead. And they're led by two musicians known only as Ark and Eris. Very mysterious names, it seems. But interesting. You know, okay, there's a bit of a, you know, a playful vibe, I'd say, in the way that they're introducing themselves. It should be fun. And again, metal immediately brings me in. But they are the element of unfamiliarity here. Maybe for some of you, you're already aware of this song, maybe some of their other work. You know, maybe going forward, I'll be able to introduce myself to some of their newer stuff as well, maybe some of their older tunes if they have any. But this is coming off of a very fresh EP, as I understand, and it has the contributions that I think level it up quite a bit in regard to attention and marketability. Because many might look at this and go, well, I have no idea who Set the Sun is, but they know who Ryan Clark is. He's the collaborating artist here, and if you're a big Demon Hunter fan, like I am, I've been for about 12 years of their 20-year run, you know, I'm sure how this is going to sound. Ryan Clark, and he's done plenty of collaborations before, from Five Finger Death Punch, as I understand. I didn't know that originally. It was only a couple days ago that I found out about that one. But he did another collaboration in the past with Nine Lashes. That's such a good song, too. Our Darkest Day, I think is the name of it. I'm excited to hear his contributing work here because, again, I love Demon Hunter. I've covered them as well on this channel. They got a new album coming out as of tonight, I believe, and I will be covering that more in focus. I've already covered the first 6 tracks released as singles thus far for their album Exile, so I'll be giving a complete run of that in the future. But I'm excited to hear more from... I'm always game to hear more from Ryan. Again, Demon Hunter's very potent within the Christian metal scene. They've been around for so many years and are real staples at this point. But Ryan Clark has, in my opinion, a legendary growl. He's regarded pretty well for his talents. So I'm excited to hear him here. Maybe he does more of a ballad thing. I don't know exactly where this track is going to go in direction. I mean, we say metal, but that could mean a whole bunch of different routes. Let's go ahead and take a look at Invisible. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song, and we can get an introduction for the piece. Maybe you're in my position again. This is totally fresh to you. And maybe you don't even know who Ryan Clark is. Oh, be prepared. He is a talent. And you're going to want to listen to his entire library of Demon Hunter after you're done, I'm sure. And they've got, again, about 11 albums at this point. The 11th on the way really soon, but 10 in full released. But as I said, I'm going to go ahead and cue up the music video. We can watch this and get a first introduction for ourselves. And I do try and provide, this is typical of my music reactions on this channel. Maybe you're not familiar with my work here. I try and provide every accommodation that I can. So I will superimpose the lyrics as well into the video. If you choose to read along with the message of the piece, that will be provided for you. And they'll, proceed and change as the song goes along. All right. Invisible. I mean, it's a good name. It's kind of typical, at least from some of the song names that I've heard addressed in similar lines and past work from other artists, but let's see the originality of this piece. I like the symphonic edge. I'm a big symphonic metal fan. Okay, here we go. More intense. So it is more aggressive metal. It's good. Again, less ballad. I mean, Ryan could go either way. I hear him. And that was a good line. Okay, I like the varied pitch of the artist. I mean, Ryan is playing a bit more of a background role here, but you can hear him enough that you're like, oh, I just love hearing your voice, but he's allowing the other artists to be showcased. That's great. I like this guy. a nice range. There's a bit of an electronic twist, at least in the way that he sings. It just blends well with the structure of the tune. So it's a good blend. If you're a Demon Hunter fan, I'm sure this is satisfying. Oh, that's a good warble there. I like that. So that's a nice verse in the chorus by proceeding that broken line. That's good. Yes, give him a measure. Or at least an introduction to a measure. I'm not usually one for electronic music. I have certain exceptions, and I think they fit. I'm interested to see their work in that vein going forward. We'll say it that way. Nice end wrap up. I was wondering if they were going to drop off at that first point. That certainly fits an ambiance to Demon Hunter and sound. I mean, it's certainly more their guttural tracks. Really good listen. Good introduction, by the way. I would definitely be interested in seeing where Set the Sun goes going forward. That definitely felt like an initial EP release. Sometimes you can tell with bands when they come on the scene, when they release a new track, and you're like, okay, I've never had a first introduction. This group is relatively new. It kind of feels like they're sort of waiting into space a bit. It's nice to see Ryan Clark there helping, and not only contributing, but showcasing them in a way where Demon Hunter fans are satisfied, because you can clearly hear him, but he's sort of, again, in the background, so he's allowing for the voices and the artistry of this new band to be manifested in principle first. And he's more so like a lending advisor. It's really interesting, though. I love it. I feel, again, it's satisfactory on both levels. Although, as I said as well, I'm not usually game for electronic music. I'm very specific in what I like in that vein, because I'm not a big EDM guy. For certain examples, crossing our national borders, in this case, Dead by April, they're Swedish, but they do a lot with electronic metal in a way that I find very creative. But you can also say, speaking of Ryan Clark, Knives. That was a side project he did with Randy Torres of Project 86. I think Randy Torres is his name. I might have that wrong. But that was satisfactory as well. And that had definitely, again, that was less Demon Hunter, very much a deviation. But it was electronic in a way I felt worked. It had a bit of a pop edge, too. I found it interesting. But it's Ryan Clark, that's easily what drew me in terms of the vocals. But you could also say longtime favorites of mine on this channel, Starset, MNQ, and that's also a spinoff from Dustin Bates, the frontman of Starset's ever work. I make exceptions where I feel the talent is stressed enough that it doesn't necessarily feel typical or too erratic, like EDM. And there is that metal bass line. This was a little slower pace than some of the other songs I've listened to in the electronic vein, but it's good. I think the vocals provided a nice blend where it perfectly wraps into that electronic style. It was interesting to listen to this guy's vocal talents, and I would be interested again going forward, listening to some of their other work, if they happen to have produced anything since. I haven't looked in depth, but I will definitely consider them in regards to future coverage if the opportunity ever comes up. I've got a lot of artists I showcase, so it might be, it might take some time. Oh, and there's apparently another contributing artist I wasn't aware of on this track, Thomas Freckleton, that's a nice last name, of Silent Planet. I'm also not familiar with him, so 2 introductions, I guess. Not just Set the Sun, but Thomas Freckleton. That's such a great name. And the message, I was trying to follow along with the video as well. There's more of a conceptual storyline added in. I was more so, I have to admit, focused though on the tune, because that's really what I was interested in engaging. Because again, it's a newer talent, so you're trying to approach this song at different levels and different extremes. Maybe the video will mean more to me upon subsequent watches. I kind of felt, again, it's sort of like this dystopian, I don't necessarily want to use the word apocalyptic because I feel it's a bit too dramatic. Maybe. It had a bit of a sci-fi twist that's familiar to me, at least in the sci-fi realm of what I'm familiar with, and not just in regards to coverage, but what I've watched. They had a baseline that was understandable for me to follow, but to make it more concrete, maybe that requires more views. The song itself really did entice me in terms of looking at their work at a deeper level and seeing where they go, as a band. Again, I'd love to introduce myself, perhaps lesser known or more obscure talents, again, as I described. I'd be interested as well to hear your thoughts down below. I mean, again, maybe for some of you, you're like, maybe you're in my camp of, what brought you in, and that was Ryan Clark. Like, immediately. Like, I have to listen to something new from him, whatever it might be. But Set the Sun is a, nice contribution. I mean, this is really their headline work overall. It's more so the contribution of Ryan Clark coming in, but that's what enticed me initially. And maybe going forward, Set the Sun will do that all on their own. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Whatever angle you come from, perhaps you've listened to some of their work, previous to this point that I have, but maybe you're in my position, and this is a completely unknown group to you. I'd love to hear where you come from and your overall takeaway from the song by your own standards. I think it's good. Again, it's nice to hear new talent, and I think Set the Sun definitely has a space carved out for them pretty well within the metal scene. I think they could definitely be going places. It's a good baseline to work with. In terms of getting an understanding, engaging the particular styles of the group, I am very much interested in hearing them going forward. But I always love to hear more from Ryan Clark. And on the eve of, or I guess the morning of the next day being Exile's release, it's nice to get in a Demon Hunter mood, especially since they will be showcased pretty extensively in the future in terms of some of the videos I might have coming with Exile. So keep your eyes peeled if you're a big Demon Hunter fan, or perhaps maybe this video made you a fan of Ryan Clark. You're like, I've never heard Demon Hunter before. Again, go look at their library. You will not regret it, I promise you. Good group, though. Good setting the standard here with Set the Sun. Should the opportunity arise, I will definitely consider covering them in the future on this channel. It'd be interesting to see where they go from here, but that was, I think, a good baseline to set them in the metal scene. I think it worked. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.